Welcome to the Chicago Sports Bums 2024 Chicago Bears season kickoff show. I am Baloney. I'm here with Dougie Freshness. The head bum in charge is 5-10 minutes late, so he'll be joining us in a second. We've got the Halas Huddle crew, Justin Onayemi and Rob Schwarz Jr. They're going to join us in about 10 minutes. Going to be talking all things Bears. Not a regular bumcast, not a regular nonsense-filled bum of the week, viral videos, none of that. We're talking football today, baby. Dougie, how you feeling? Like that hat? That hat's looking fresh.
You know what? I got to be honest with you, man. I'm feeling a little hurt right now.
You said you're playing hurt.
Yeah, I'm playing hurt. So I ended up having a impromptu football draft. Had myself a couple of beers beforehand. Not the hurting part. I had to, do my business before the show, and accidentally cranked up the bidet up to 10 on accident, and your boy's not feeling very comfortable right now. I'm sitting on like a cushion. I got a little man pon in, and I'm not feeling good right now.
You power washed the undercarriage? What are you
Dude, I'm telling you right now, as soon as it happened, there was
I can imagine
an unmanly scream that came out of this guy. So I'm feeling a little uncomfortable right now.
For those that don't know, I mean, I'm not going to dox you, but in your line of work, I assume you have very good water pressure at your house.
The best. And I've loved it up until this very fucking point right now.
I'm telling you, when you told me that story, I didn't know how we were going to start the show off because Jason's gone. He's running like 5-10 minutes late. So we're like, we'll just banter. We got a couple of things we got to take care of business wise before we get the Halas Huddle guys on. So we're like, we'll just banter back and forth. And then you're like, I got a story to start the show. Did not expect you to go that route, but I appreciate it.
I'm day to day right now. Let's just put it that way.
Joe in the comments saying Dougie not so fresh, probably too fresh. Too fresh is Dougie freshness right now. Johnny's in the comments. He said, I'm gonna heckle you guys like Liam Gallagher. Hey, if you want to heckle me like we're the Oasis brothers, I'm all in, because me and Johnny have been back and forth going text for text about the Oasis reunion. I don't know if you guys heard, but Oasis, after 15 years, rumored to be back in action. And I'm excited. I told Johnny, get your passport ready. He doesn't fly. I'll fly him to London. We got to go see that show.
Hell yeah. That'd be a show to see at like Wembley, dude.
Yeah. So the rumor is they're trying to do 10 nights at Wembley to break Taylor Swift's record. I guess she did 8 nights.
Okay.
And the Oasis brothers are going to be like, we're going to do 10. And dude, knowing them, they're going to do London and Manchester. They'll sell out as many nights as they can after 15 years.
Right.
I'm excited about it. We got a couple super chats. We got Lucky Spags early on the show. Salute to the Chicago Sports Bums. Salute. Dougie, what do you got going on? Oh, yeah, Gatorade. It was a hot one today.
Yeah, it was a hot one. I got Gatorade in this one and Liquid IV in this one. So, yeah, I'm just trying to rehydrate, man.
Yeah, it's supposed to be really hot. We both work outside. I've got a little bit of a transfusion. So, grape juice and ginger ale. So, it's a little good. So thank you to Spags 199. Missy says, salute, boys. Salute to Missy and Johnny. Anniversary today.
Yeah.
Anniversary for the young whippersnappers. Johnny was getting heckled online. It's funny whenever Missy posts something about Johnny gets dragged because they said, what is he, 50 years old? And I'm like, that's really mean. He had a good chirp back though. I was proud of Johnny.
There you go.
And then Drew says, money to add more colors in Dougie's shot. I'm assuming that's Dougie's shirt. Is that a wrestling shirt? Yeah, it is. It's like the wrestling figures.
Yeah, it's all the old Hasbros.
Yeah, that's a good.
I never know where to grab.
Right where the Ultimate Warrior is. So yeah, as you guys know, like every other Bumcast or any other Chicago Sports Bums live show, the super chats go into your raffle. So $1.99 will get you 2 entries to the Bums super chat raffle for August. We're giving away this Chicago Bears shirt. You can see it on screen, but I'm wearing it too. We're modeling it off. We got a Hawk Harrelson Han Solo bobblehead, some Chickies beef gift cards, and then the giveaway, the sleeveless hoodie for the White Sox recent giveaway. All of that is going to be raffled off at the end of this week. So this is the last technically the last live show, but we're not raffling off stuff today because, I mean, I don't want to break any news, but there's rumors of another live show starting Friday. Not at liberty to say what we're doing on Friday, but stay tuned for that. So if we do the show on Friday, that's when we're going to raffle off the prizes. So yeah, thank you to everyone that's super chatted. Keep hammering those super chats throughout the whole show. All right, Dougie, I'm going to play an ad for Chickies Beef. I'm going to do the Jax promo because we got a live show. Actually, let's do that now. 2 weeks away, less than 2 weeks away. We got the Bums Happy Hour plus karaoke night at Jack's Place, 7000 West Southwest Highway in Chicago Ridge. I'm excited about it. Dougie, have you prepared what you're going to sing? I think we got something cooking.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday I was excited before, but then after we had a few drinks, two tree beverages yesterday, we came up with an idea that is you're not going to want to miss it. Let's just put it that way. It's gonna drop some jaws, I think.
Yeah. But, I'm really excited about it. We're going to do the Bums Happy Hour starting at 7:00. We're going to do that live show for about an hour. And then we're going to get the singing. We got a bunch of RSVPs already. I think there's going to be a good crowd going. So check our Twitter page, check all that stuff, RSVP if you can. Then meet us at Jack's Place because Jack's Place is an awesome, awesome time. All right. One more piece of business. I wanted to get the business out of the way now because it's going to be Bears heavy and I don't want to be interrupted. I don't want to stop and start and stuff like that. So I'm excited to talk to Justin and Rob. So before we bring them on, here's a little something from our friends at Chickies.
The original Chickies Beef and Banquet is a proud sponsor of the Bumcast. Next time you're craving something absolutely delicious, you have to order pizza from Chickies Beef. It is the ultimate food hack, and trust us, the bums know a thing or two about good pizza. Make sure you check out their pizza specials. Get one jumbo slice with a drink for just $8.50 every day of the week. And every Monday, while you're gearing up to watch the Bumcast, get a large 16-inch pan or thin crust pizza for just $16.95. That includes 2 free toppings as well. And don't forget, every Monday, Chickies hosts their car and motorcycle show from 5 p.m. till dusk, located in the west parking lot of Chickies. Bring the whole family. Admission is free to spectators and participants. For dine-in, carry-out, drive-through, and delivery, it's Chickies Beef, 4152 Roosevelt Road in Hillside, or find them on the web at www.chickiesbeef.com.
All right, so we're kicking off our Bears preview show like every other year. We got our friends from the Halas Huddle. Are we doing the claw? Are we huddling up? You guys do the huddle up?
All right.
We do both.
Let's do it.
Right.
Let's do them both. All right, ready, Rob? Count us down.
Huddle up!
I love it. I tell you guys.
It's harder remote.
You guys are the first, whenever there's post Bears game that Monday morning or Tuesday, whenever you guys drop the episode, it's the first thing I do every, football morning. So I'm excited to chop it up with you guys.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes. Even counting all the stuff that we do, coming on here is one of my favorite things to do every year too. So
absolutely. How you boys doing? I'm talking about Dougie Fresh's boys.
This about a little speed bag action. I don't know if you guys heard backstage. I'm sitting a little gingerly right now. That's all I'm gonna say.
Got to get one of those donuts.
Oh, dude, yeah, the
God.
hemorrhoid donut. Yeah, I might need one.
You guys got a pool floaty, right? Just sit on one of those.
Right there, you go.
Yeah,
Might
that's
have
what I
to
said.
expense one out of the bums account or something.
You got kids. I'm sure they got floaties. You can just sit on a couple of those.
Yeah, it's rough scene.
So yeah, I ended up going back and listening to a little bit of last year's preview show, and I don't know about you guys, but this feels completely different than any other show we've done with you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I yes and no, because we did have a lot of high hopes for Justin Fields last year.
That's true. We were staunch Field supporters, but I think that was more because we had to be.
Desperation.
Desperation. It had been a long time, and we wanted to believe. We wanted to believe that he was our guy. We had a shirt that said Justin Fields is that dude. But and we can't take away a lot from preseason. I understand that. But just seeing Caleb Williams on Hard Knocks, seeing him in press conferences, seeing him behind the scenes and in the huddle, it just looks different. So that's where I want to start with Caleb Williams, and just where does your guys' ceiling? I'm not talking about Super Bowls down the line and he's doing the Tom Brady method and he wants to break Brady's, but what is his ceiling this year as a rookie?
See, I think the problem is, sorry, Rob. I think the problem is, as Bears fans, we've been so thirsty to see what a real stud quarterback can be that when you say ceiling, it truly is breaking every Bears quarterback record. Now, that's a lot to expect from a rookie. I'm more concerned about where his floor is going to be. But with the supporting cast, I think it kind of like how you let in. Last year was hope. This is almost teetering towards confidence. I mean, Ryan Poles has created an entire roster. There are holes, no doubt about it. But I don't know that there's any team that would say they have no holes. And with the offense that you have, the exercise I've been doing in my head is you have DJ Moore, you have Keenan Allen, you have Rome Odunze, you have Kmet, you have Everett, you have Swift. Insert any quarterback, and what do you think they would do? Now insert Caleb Williams, and with the excitement he's showing, it really does have you just wondering, could he go for all sorts of records? Certainly the rookie records are well within expectations.
Yeah, to just put some stats on it, I think he could break the franchise record for passing yards in his rookie season. I mean, if he stays healthy, one, he gets that extra game, so there could be the little asterisks there. But if he stays healthy, he plays 16, 17 games, he for sure can break that 4,000-yard mark. But I still want to, temper my expectations a little bit. I have him probably somewhere between 3,600 and 3,800 yards for his floor to his ceiling for this year. I shouldn't say ceiling, for where I expect him to be, right? And then the ceiling is 4,000 and above. 24 touchdowns passing, somewhere around that range. Probably a high interception count. I mean, he's a rookie, so my guess is you're going to hit double digits, right? You're going to see 12, 14 interceptions. Probably, you would think 3 to 4 rushing touchdowns, and I would call that a great season for a rookie quarterback here in Chicago.
Just to put it in perspective, 3,600 yards would make him the 5th highest season total for Bears quarterbacks in history. And Eric Kramer has the record. That came out to 240 yards per game, like you said, Rob, in a 16-game season where he played all 16. So, I mean, it's within range.
The record's what, 38?
38.
38. So if you go like you mentioned, so it's right just a little bit over 240 yards passing per game. With this offense, with those weapons, it's feasible, right? It's not like we're not drinking Kool-Aid. It's realistically feasible.
All my projections, I'm putting him at 15 games. So that's even if he sits out 2 for whatever reason. Hopefully because they're resting him for the playoffs.
There you go.
Hell yeah. I like the
I'm getting way ahead of myself. You can tell.
No, I like it. Let's get ahead of ourselves. One thing I wanted to ask you about Caleb Williams, because I've noticed it, at least personally, with this Hard Knocks, and not only Hard Knocks, but the behind the scenes stuff that the Bears have been doing on YouTube. Has this changed your perspective on Caleb Williams at all? At least attitude wise, because a lot had been said about the West Coast diva and all that stuff, which is unfounded for the most part. But seeing it live and in person and on Hard Knocks and different things like that, it does change things, at least for me, right?
So I'll jump in here. I think we were pretty good at not diving into the rumors that were going out prior to even the Justin Fields trade. It was something that we had discussed over and over again. There was a lot of bad information out there. We joked about it on one of our recent episodes. I was like, was it Washington trying to drive his stock down? Was it New England trying to drive his stock down? Because it's I will say I didn't think he was going to be as bad as like the rumors were, but at the same time, I didn't think he was going to be as humble as we've seen already. And it's been, I mean, some people got mad. Who was the receiver that got mad about the fact that he like called out the players for keeping the locker room a mess, right?
Yeah,
Amani Toomer. Yeah. Like, just those little things. Like, I find that to be awesome. Like, take care of the people who are there to take care of you. And here's this kid. I think it was like, what was his signing bonus? $25 million.
Yeah.
25.
like, let's make sure the janitors, make sure like the equipment guys, let's make sure that everything's nice and clean for them. We don't need them having to pick up, like they're our moms. It's those types of things. Like, those weren't things I expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame seeing how he's displayed himself ever since he's been in our public eye. I mean, the Chicago fan base has been nothing but great. And all those things you were hearing kind of were spinning the opposite tail. Yeah. And, to your point, them being on Hard Knocks, this was the perfect time for it. We wish it had been in the past, but actually now it worked out perfectly. But I really appreciated hearing Poles speak to this and saying it's a lesson to my staff that we really need to dig in and talk to people about all these prospects. Because if they had just listened to even 10% of what was out there, I don't know, the talent hopefully would have still shined through. But I don't know where that stuff was coming from. Like you said, Rob, conspiracy theories or whatever, but it almost makes you feel bad. But again, when you're in the public eye, that's kind of what comes with it. I think because of how early his success was, he won the Heisman as a sophomore and was already projected to be the number 1 pick. So I think that played into it as well.
Yeah, Jason, how we doing, baby?
We're good. I'm sorry I was running a little late here. Had a prior family obligation, but yeah, I'm here. And so what did I miss? We're just talking some Caleb Williams here.
We're drinking the Kool-Aid. No surprise, I think.
I think the bigger story that you missed was Dougie's situation.
Yeah.
Dougie might have to go back and watch the beginning of the show. Dougie might have power washed his.
He's got a little bit of a groin strain.
Yeah.
He's day to day. Day to day.
Not good. The bidet came back and bit me in the ass this time. Literally. Yeah. But no, the one thing I wanted to say about Caleb Williams is I think we saw flashes of his maturity, even in the Giants Hard Knocks, with that little interview and everything like that. But then now these last episodes of Hard Knocks, I think you're just seeing like a mature player before his time for at least most rookies. Most rookies are trying to find their legs. It seems like this dude, is running a locker room, and it is taking command of stuff. It's stuff that I love to see, like way before, like he's even stepped foot on the field for a regular season game. It's just, that's what I've taken away from this whole thing.
I know we have conflicting Hard Knocks recap shows, but the episode when he's talking to Roma Dunze on the sidelines, to this day, like out of the 3 episodes, that is my favorite thing that we have seen, is the fact that he could take control. And I know Rome is a rookie, but like just the way that he explained what he wanted him to do. And then you see it happen. Granted, his feet were just out of bounds, right? But like you see it happen the very next week. Like, those types of things, I think, is what's going to lead to his greatness.
I thought you were talking about the mesh going to the club.
Well, I just want to add on to that, though. Roma Dunze, as a rookie, too, fits a lot of what we're talking about. Yeah. Very high character guy, a leader right away from the jump. And I think back to my point of Ryan Poles really building this in a way that makes a whole lot of sense. That's where I'm starting to tip towards like confidence of, even though we haven't been able to have this kind of fan experience, it seems like we're on the brink of something kind of special. I mean, and again, that's not me making any bold predictions for this year, but just what the whole future may hold for the Chicago Bears.
I mean, I think it's guaranteed though, guys. We're going to see 10 Super Bowls as long as one of us isn't the one who dies from the button.
Are we all pressing the button? I think we all agree, at least on our show. We agree.
I volunteered as tribute. Now, my only thing is there a way for me to see it happen and then die? Like, that would make it even better.
So there was a caveat to that question that the Part of My Take guys talked about after Hard Knocks aired.
Okay.
And Big Cat said you could have it one of two ways. You could see all 10 Super Bowls and then die, but no one would know it was you, or you perish before the Super Bowls and everyone knows you're the hero. You're a martyr.
I want to be infamous. Make me infamous.
Yeah, so we build statues. We do all of that.
Okay. I'll watch from heaven.
Since Rob volunteered himself, I said I'll hold down the Halas Huddle. So
there we go.
Very noble. You appreciate it greatly.
So we're talking. You just mentioned Roma Dunze. So let's transition to because we want to talk about the offense. Obviously, we had DJ Moore last year, but we added Keenan Allen. Obviously, Roma Dunze, DeAndre Swift, Gerald Everett. So what can we realistically expect from the offense this year? Do we have top 10? Can we put up, 30 points a game from this team? Like, are we going to have running back by committee? What are we looking at as far as with this revamped offense?
You want to go first, Justin?
You go, Rob.
All right. So the other thing that I've noticed from watching Hard Knocks and obviously from watching the preseason game, this offense is a real offense. And we're seeing how bad Luke Getsy is with the Raiders, right? Like, we all were complaining about this offense for the last 2 years. Shane Waldron's offense, I saw one play. Like, going back at the All-22 film, I have seen one play where there was two receivers in the same position, in the same area, right? Outside of that, you're not seeing that like we did with Getsy's offense. You're seeing guys in different areas, different lengths of the field, pulling defenders away, opening things up. The motions that we're seeing in pre-snap, the motions that we're seeing as it snaps, setting up plays. We already saw it with the DJ Moore play where he caught that ball, runs through a few guys, screams, "I love football!" And then the very next week, we see a variation of it. It doesn't work. Caleb Williams throws it at Gerald Everett's feet, but it's just one of those things, like, you're already seeing it. And this shouldn't even be like their full package, right? This is supposed to be the vanilla-ness of what we're supposed to see. I do think they're going a little bit above and beyond that, trying to get these guys ready for the season and getting into week one because they know it's a young team. They know that it's a new offense. But, man, I definitely think this team could be a top 15 offense for sure. Top 10 is definitely within reach.
So the reason I wanted Rob to go first is I have a trick answer to this, which is they're designing their team to set all of their units up for success. Because the joke was when Caleb Williams was asked about Torrey Taylor, he said, "Oh, he's good, but we won't need him." And then you see the Bears go 3 straight 3-and-outs, and Taylor walks up to Caleb and says, I thought you guys didn't need me. Meanwhile, he's giving them great field position on these amazing punts and then you have a strong defense. So I just think the whole thing is going to click in a way that will take pressure off of Caleb Williams, even though he talks about, I don't really feel pressure. I'm here to be great. I'm going to put in the work to be great. And it's very exciting to see. I mean, preseason is preseason. You can't always roll that into what the season will look like. But, for somebody who was a little worried about keeping Matt Eberflus in charge of this thing with a new quarterback, the Hard Knocks look gives us an insight on the thing. I feel like he's leading this team to be overall cohesive, and that will help the offense. That will help the defense. That's why I'm very excited.
Yeah, and I keep saying that, we can't take too much out of preseason, and I don't want to. But the things we can take away, and it's things that we had questions about, is the depth of this team. It seems like they're pretty deep compared to other teams' 2s and 3s and 4s. And the last thing is whether or not undefeated or not during the preseason, this team's playing for Matt Eberflus. And he was one of the big question marks, going in from last year to this year, is how is he going to be able to galvanize a team when he was, fairly unsuccessful winning percentage-wise with the Chicago Bears. But as much as we don't want to take away stuff from the preseason, I feel like those are the two things that the Bears got depth, and Ryan Poles did a great job of building that depth, and everyone's playing for Matt Eberflus.
So I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter because I know you guys are on there a lot too. The point differential part of what's going on with the Bears in preseason is the one thing I think you can hang your hat on. Like Justin said, they're not building just an offense; they're building this whole team outside of punt returner, obviously. And the last time that we've seen a point differential this wide, right, was the Seattle Seahawks in 2013, and they went. I can't remember if they won the Super Bowl, if they went to the Super Bowl that year, but I think you can hang your hat on seeing that transition. It's not like I don't remember what year it was, but the Eagles one year, I think it was the Chip Kelly offense. They went 4-0 in the preseason. Everyone was like, "Oh, they're going to be awesome," and then they just sucked.
Yeah.
So I think it could be. It's not that type of situation. Like there's more to it than that. But to your point with Matt Eberflus, I did not think like we talked about it. Like we were ready to get rid of him, right? Like we were ready to get rid of him. I think the pairing with Shane Waldron is definitely helpful. But again, the other part of that we're seeing behind the scenes with 1920 Football Drive and with Hard Knocks is that relationship that he's building not only with Caleb Williams but with this team, and he's taking that CEO role very well. And we got to cut him some slack too. Like this is only his third year as a head coach. I mean, it is a very tough business. So if he's learning on the fly and we're seeing this growth, the sky's the limit for this team.
Yeah, I think
go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think one of the things I love about this offense is that you can take any of the three wide receivers and you can put them in the slot and make them like a matchup nightmare against linebackers, or even for for the nickel corner. Like it's going to be interesting to see like who gets the primary snaps in the slot. Is it going to be Keenan? Is it going to be Romer, even DJ Moore with the speed? Like that's one thing I'm very excited how Shane Waldron's going to do these three wide sets.
Yeah, I mean, all of their weapons are smart players who know how to get open. They, DJ Moore is a master against man-to-man and Keenan Allen against zone. So you have exactly what you need in any scenario. And meanwhile, Caleb has seemed to be a quick study. I think, Rob, you said kind of the preseason mentality is normally go vanilla. I think the Bears have learned from their past mistakes and are going against some of the traditional thoughts. I mean, they have been blitzing like crazy in the preseason, which you normally don't see. And you look at their early schedule, 4 out of their first 5 games, they play the whole AFC South, which have young quarterbacks. And then their 5th game is against Bryce Young, which they must win, by the way. But not only are you putting a lot of things on film that they're going to have to be ready for, but it's also testing Caleb Williams. And that's something I'm also thinking, again, with this balanced roster, the fact that the ones on offense are going against the ones on defense, that's got to be making both units so much stronger. I mean, some of the talk of Keenan Allen's struggles, you really just look and say, that's how good Jalen Johnson is. But other teams don't have a Jalen Johnson. And I'm excited to see, to your point, any nickel try to guard Odunze, Keenan Allen, or DJ Moore.
Is it Jalen Johnson, or did he follow the Eddie Lacy China food? I'm just joking. I don't think there's
into that.
I don't think there's any concern. I'm just joking.
Don't put that juju out there in the world.
Chicago deep dish is good though. So
it is. He's out there doing pizza reviews. Like he's really writing them for. I don't remember what it was for, but he's written like real pizza reviews. I saw one for Pequod. So
as long as they're not like the Domino's pizza that Luis Robert from the Chicago White Sox his rookie year, he was just ordering Domino's pizza in the locker room like once a week. So
my 12-year-old would love it.
We're not doing that. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think as well as for in running back? Do we see DeAndre Swift getting the bulk of the carries, or are we going to see a 3-headed running back by committee? Is Herbert going to be the primary third down guy? What do you guys expect from the running backs?
Swift.
A lot of Swift, but when you say 3-head, I'm wondering about that 4th head. What is Velas's role? assuming we don't know.
He's not on this team. He's not on this team.
He's gonna make this team, Jay.
We have him making it, and we have him as a running back. And so I'm curious, you got to feel like they have to have a package of plays they like him in. But how is that not a dead giveaway to the other team? Like, he's on the field, we know he's getting the ball, or we know he's the decoy. Right. But they have balance. But I really like what DeAndre Swift will be able to do, both as a rusher and out of the backfield as a receiver. But it's nice to know you have some depth there.
Yeah, we got K-Fids in the comments saying, I really thought Roschon Johnson was going to be a dude. I still think there's a spot where Roschon Johnson can be a dude. You just got to stay on the field. But yeah, it sounds like Swift, at least from reading the tea leaves the last couple of days, it sounds like he's going to be a pretty heavy workload, at least the beginning of the season.
I think if you're a fantasy football player, right, like DeAndre Swift is clearly the guy you're going to target on this team. I think he's going to get at least the first and second down carries, probably some third down carries as too. I don't think, we don't see a traditional 3-down back in the NFL like we used to just 5-6 years ago. And then I think it's just going to be a combination. Roschon Johnson's been dealing with injury again. So if he's healthy, I think it's just going to be a combination of Roschon and Khalil. I mean, Herbert's shown flashes again. I mean, that's what he does. He's that Tony Pollard-esque. Like, he shows those flashes, but then just kind of disappears at times. And where Pollard has pushed himself into that, better category, we haven't seen that from Herbert. Maybe it was because of the injury. Maybe he's, not going to be more explosive now that he's getting a little bit more healthy. But right now, they are set up for success at the running back spot because what else? I mean, I can't think of very many other teams that have the depth that they have right now.
Rob, you're taking Kmet too in fantasy.
Oh, I actually own Kmet in my Dynasty League, and I'm very happy about it.
Oh.
I don't know. Not enough balls to go around, but he'll be productive.
Yeah, and especially where he's getting drafted this year, it seems like there's value there for Cole Kmet in fantasy.
Yeah, you can't count on him as your starter, as your tight end one. I don't think this year, just because of the Gerald Everett situation, and we know that Waldron likes to play the 2 tight end set more. Mm-hmm. We're going to see a lot of 12 formation, and I think even some 22. But he's still worthy of, if you have a deep enough roster and you want to grab a second tight end, he's the guy you can grab.
Yeah. So before we switch over to defense, you think this offense, realistically, we can put up 30 points a game?
I would say that they're probably going to average somewhere around like 26, 28.
30 seems high, but at certain points in the schedule, maybe you have a chance at that and you start stringing some W's together.
Well, but maybe I should rephrase that because the defense is going to get at least 1 pick six a game. So,
that all counts.
Yeah, I like that.
I like it too.
Yeah, so let's transition to the defense because a lot of it we talked about previously. We've seen it in Hard Knocks. Like we mentioned, Keenan Allen going up against Jalen Johnson. I think this defense is as deep as it possibly can be in the secondary. Obviously, we made a couple trades past couple days. So Peter, pull that up real quick. I saw you got the slide queued up, but so we traded next year's 6th-round draft pick for Darrell Taylor, former 2nd-round pick from the Seahawks. So maybe a big change of scenery guy, coaching guy. Obviously, it seems like maybe Shane Waldron's a little familiar with them. And then for Chris Williams, I think we gave, what was that, a 6th or a 7th or maybe a 7th or something? I can't remember what exactly we traded. But let's start with, before we talk about the whole defense as a whole, what do you think of these two guys coming in?
Yeah, so Darrell Taylor is a sack specialist. He's kind of like a veteran type of Austin Booker, in my opinion, right? Like he's going to be someone who is going to get in the backfield. What we're seeing from Austin Booker, though, is I think he could actually be more of an all-around player than I thought. But with Taylor, I mean, he was going to be transitioning into a 3-4 offense or defense, and he is a traditional 4-3 end. Little side note, if you haven't seen it, Travis Gibson, who used to be on the Bears, actually was traded today to Seattle. So they got rid of Darrell Taylor. They did have an injury to one of their defensive ends, So they went out and got Travis Gibson for, I think it was a 6th or 7th round pick. But same situation. Now, Travis Gibson, the reason he wasn't here in Chicago, even though we saw him succeed last year in the preseason, is he was a traditional 3-4 outside linebacker. So it's like, or 3-4 end. So it's like, I think just the scheme fit really made sense here. I was surprised that they got him for as cheap as they did. A 6th round pick is like nothing, in my opinion. Like nothing. I mean, the guy's got 21 and a half sacks. I think it's in 3 seasons or 4 seasons. Like, struggles a bit against the run. But you know what? I think that this defensive front with Andrew Billings, I think they'll be just fine in that regard. We saw how bad they were in 2022, and then they completely addressed that in 2023. And they were one of the best run defenses in the NFL last year. So that to me is huge. We talked about it in our podcast. I'm a little worried that Zach Pickens' injury might be a little bit more in depth than we originally are. Like, there hasn't been a lot of information about it, right? Because it happened in the last game. Mm-hmm. Did they bring him in? Did they bring Chris Williams in? I know he's got connections with Matt Eberflus in Indianapolis. And I think, Justin, did you say he had 2 sacks already this preseason? I'm just concerned that maybe they are bringing him in to bolster that defensive line while Zach Pickens might go on the IR. I haven't heard anything specific as far as injuries go. I think that's going to be kind of close to the vest over the next 24 hours, and we'll have more information, obviously, tomorrow.
Yeah. I like the timing of both these moves. It was a glaring need from afar, but I think by doing it when they did, you gave people like Dominique Robinson and evil Daniel Hardy, all these guys, a full training camp to show what they were capable of. And then you address by getting guys that you can say are depth at both the end and the interior of your D-line. And so I don't think it's wise to expect too much from either of them, but they could both, either one of them could surprise you. I like that Taylor is just on a 1-year, $3 million deal. You only give up a 6th round pick, so it's not a huge commitment. But what I think it does is it does shore up what was kind of a glaring weakness. And we all know that Ryan Poles has shown a willingness to trade in season at the deadline.
Yeah.
If a move is going to make a difference for the squad. And so I think if you're looking for a bigger name and to go across from Sweat, that could come mid-season, depending on if some teams with disgruntled players are having bad seasons or things along those lines. So I think it gave them enough depth that week 1 you feel a little bit better than maybe we would have felt otherwise. And maybe there's other moves coming because neither one of those is going to cause a lot on their cap. They still have some flexibility there. So I like where it puts them for week 1.
Yeah, and it's something that, credit again to Ryan Poles, we saw with the failed Judon trade on Hard Knocks, right? Like, he was looking to bolster that depth with something maybe a little splashier, but he didn't panic, and he went out and made 2 depth pieces this week. And it's still something that could still be addressed, like you mentioned, later on in the season. I just thought, and I talked about a little bit on the happy hour, it's been very pragmatic of Ryan Poles to, especially when he talked about not putting your team in a position to maybe, this trade helps you in the short run, but looking down the line, you don't want, it seems like he's learning from failed GM's errors, especially in Chicago, right? Because now Ryan Poles is completely opposite of what Ryan Pace was doing.
But we're seeing the Ryan Pace effect in Atlanta unfold right now, right? So we're going to see, can he make it work in team 2? Because they literally got Judon, right? And then they went out and got Justin Simmons. So it's they're just throwing money at vets and bringing them in. You saw the whole thing with Kirk Cousins too, right? So it's I don't know. We'll see which one goes better. I personally like the route that Ryan Poles is going on versus what Ryan Pace is doing in Atlanta.
100%.
Yeah. Longevity.
Yeah.
Quick comment from K-Fed here. Really thought Flus was a goober. Yeah, we all did. And his shtick has really seemed to take hold, almost like he found his head coach sea legs mid last season. And after most of us wrote him off, his D fucks. Yes, that D definitely does fuck, and it's gonna fuck hard because I want to talk to you guys about the secondary, because I think this is I think it's gonna be the top secondary in the league this year. They are so deep. And I think we're going to see, the return, or, like how every year someone has it, but it's going to be Johnson Island this year. I think he's going to I think he's taking that next step. He got his bag. He got disrespected. He's got a chip on his shoulder. And I think he's going out to prove everyone. And then just the growth, that Tyreek Stevenson's going to take, bringing in Kevin Byard too, like as another vet in there. I think, and you still got Brisker and Gordon, like those two guys. We wondered why, like Eberflus or White Poles went defense, 2 years ago, and we were kind of like okay, maybe he's just taking best guy available, and now you're seeing like the benefits of this, like. This, I would be surprised if that, like I said, I think it's going to be top secondary in the league for giving up passing. I'd be very surprised if they were anything less than top 3.
Yeah, we just talked about how the D-line maybe doesn't have the big-time players other than Sweat, really. And you hope Dexter makes an ascension. But I feel like as good as the secondary is, that helps your D-line. You're going to get some coverage sacks with the guys you have back there. And one guy I really hope can get past some health things that tend to keep him out is Gordon. I mean, you saw in that one game, he played probably 2 drives and just took over the game in a sense. He's willing to come in and hit almost like a linebacker, but he can cover like a corner. And, it's just exciting to see. I like that last year, and it's probably a big reason why he got paid. But Jalen had always been known for his coverage, but he started taking the ball away. And so if you see the Bears start taking the ball away, that's when everything is clicking, and this team could really put it all together.
Yeah, personally, I'm glad he didn't make the top 100. I think that right there, I mean, what does that top 100 mean in the long run? It means jack shit, right? Like, no one cares about this 5 years from now. Hey, we're in the top. No one cares, right? So to me, the fact that he's like keeping track of that, knows that Aaron Rodgers made it and didn't even play more than 4 seconds, that right there, I mean, that's just fuel to the fire. That bag isn't really, I don't think, going to be a concern. You see guys get that bag and they just kind of let off. Mm-hmm. You're not seeing that from him. He wants to just keep proving himself.
Yeah. And one thing I wanted to mention in regards to the defense, because we should be giving that secondary its flowers, and Montez Sweat is a difference maker. We saw it as soon as he came to the Chicago Bears. But TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds, the second half of the season, those 2 linebackers were awesome to end the season. And I feel like everyone's talking about the secondary. Everyone's talking about the lack of depth in the D-line and stuff like that. And these 2 guys are just going about their business as pros. We haven't seen much of them on Hard Knocks. We haven't really seen any like media from them all that much. And I feel like those 2 guys, I mean, Chicago is built on linebackers, the history of linebackers, and those 2 guys are as professional as they come. I'm excited about them this year because they showed, like, once they started gelling, like the end of last season, those 2 guys were guys.
Yeah, TJ Edwards, I feel like, came on strong a lot earlier than Tremaine Edmonds did last year. I think it took him only about 3-4 games before we saw him, start playing at a high level. And what a contract, right, that they got out of him, because the fact that he was playing at that high of a level, to me, he was a top 5 linebacker last year. But then, yeah, like you said, the back half of the year, you saw things start to click for Edmonds. So I do think having those 2 back, right? Like, and we're not even talking about the fact that Sanborn's there and has proved himself. Sam Lacker, Sam Guy, Sam Horn, whatever you want to call him these days. They have some good depth at that position too. So this defense, let's just say, when we're talking offense versus defense, I mean, this defense is a lock to be a top 5 defense, in my opinion. Where we talked earlier, the offense to me is a lock to be a top 15, could creep into the top 10, but that's your comparison right there. This defense is going to just go out and ball out.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the back 7, and both Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards are known for being good in coverage. Tremaine Edmonds, people talk like his season was horrible. This dude had over 100 tackles, 4 interceptions, a forced fumble, 7 passes defended. I mean, if that's his average or slightly low season, let's see what a good season looks like from him. And you got a lot of pieces on that defense, and just a lot of cohesion with them. I mean, they're carrying over. You mentioned Kevin Byard as a guy they've inserted, but almost everyone else was here last year in a sense, all the key players. So I'm excited to see what they all do with like another year together, and hopefully health. That's always a key.
100%. Yeah, Peter, I was about to yell at you when you said you didn't mention Sandlacker. I was like, what the hell? He doesn't get any love here? Come on.
He's all right. I mean, he's good. He's a good depth piece. I like him. My bad.
Undrafted free agent, right?
Yeah.
Bears are scooping up all sorts of undrafted free agents. I hope one makes it in the secondary, actually. Reddy Stewart's my guy.
Oh, yeah, ready. He was born ready.
He doesn't even need a nickname from Flus.
So our last question I want to ask you guys about the defense before we move on, because we want to talk about in the trenches now. So I guess we can pivot to this. Is Austin Booker, is he going to be, the depth? Is he depth? Is he rotational? Is he going to be starting opposite Sweat? What do you guys like? He had a great preseason, obviously, but obviously he's still a raw, rookie. So where do we expect Austin Booker in his development? Is he?
I think he's part of the rotation at first, and then I think it comes down to what kind of production he has. I think the answer to that question is very different in week 1 than it might be in week 10. And what's very crazy about the way the schedule unfolded is all your division games are at the end of the season. And so giving him a chance early to just be a part of the rotation, and now you're playing regular season games against all ones and see what he can do. But I think, again, there's not that guy across from Sweat yet that you just know you're locking in. And so he has as good of an opportunity as any of them. But I think at first they'll bring him along slowly.
Yeah, he's not going to be your starter opposite of Sweat. It's going to be DeMarcus Walker to start the season, in my opinion, or now maybe Darrell Taylor. And you move Walker inside in the rotation with Jervon Dexter and Andrew Billings. But what's interesting is, so when I watched him in college, I gave him a 4th-round grade, but I know a lot of other analysts thought he should stay in school one more year because he was very raw. And I think it was Daniel Jeremiah who actually had a 2nd-round grade on this guy. But Ryan Pohl's got a steal. Like, if he didn't trade back up to get Austin Booker, like, I don't know how far he would have dropped, but you're talking, in my opinion, at least 1 round worth of better talent than what they paid. And this guy just has a high motor. He never stops. I was really critical of him in that first preseason game, the Hall of Fame game. I watched his All-22 tape, and I talked about the fact that I thought he looked a little slow, actually, coming off the line, which was something I didn't see on his film. And I was like, oh, maybe he's just, trying. Maybe it was nerves. Maybe he's just trying to get used to the NFL. That second game, that was gone. And there was a play, and I tweeted about it. There was a play. He actually didn't even make the tackle. But the last game, he was like in the backfield. It was a running play. He was in the backfield like as the ball was snapped. It was crazy. Like I said, he just transported back there, like just teleported back there. Yeah. What is amazing about him, though, is his hand techniques, his ability to do counter moves, his strength, which I didn't think was going to happen this quick because I thought he was going to have to put some weight on. The sky is the limit for this guy. I know a lot of people say Max Crosby could be like his ceiling, and I could definitely see it.
I'll take it any day of the week.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, so on the opposite side of the ball, a lot's been talked about with the offensive line. Obviously, the line did very good with running, creating holes last season. Hopefully we stay healthy this year. But how you guys? Are you guys still bullish on the line this year, or what do we think that they're going to do this as far as protection?
So I feel like this entire show I've come off so positive, and now you finally cracked me. I'm very worried about the O-line. When healthy, I was willing to say they were good enough. But we already see they are far from healthy. I'm worried about Ryan Bates. As is, I wasn't sure if they were going to use him at center or at guard. It was nice to think he could be either. but if he's not healthy, he's neither. And, Amagaji was your pick. He just started practicing a few days ago, really. I don't think you can count much on him at this point. Borum goes down late. We don't even know if he's going to make the roster or if he'll be an IR stash. And already Tevin Jenkins, who's one of your really best guys on the line, he has a history of injuries. So even though it hasn't happened, it's always in the back of your mind. And they've already said we're not talking contract extension quite yet, because I'm sure that's a worry they have. So as much as I love the weapons they have on offense and feel so strongly about how successful they can be, including the way Waldron seems to be able to scheme, I don't know if that holds up with a subpar line. So, Rob, do you have more hope than I do?
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I'm gonna put my bear goggles on.
Thank goodness.
Okay, I'm gonna put the bear goggles on.
We needed it.
There's two reasons why I think it's not going to matter as much, and I think part of the problem is we've seen how bad this offensive line looks, partly because Justin Fields cannot get rid of the ball, and he is not as good as Caleb Williams already as maneuvering inside the pocket. That to me is huge. We've seen Caleb Williams already. Just the way he moves in the pocket is 100 times better than what we saw from Justin Fields. And I'm a Justin Fields supporter. But on top of that, I liked what we saw from Matt Pryor when he got to start in that first game. So right there, I see some depth at guard. I would hope that Bates is coming back. If he's not, we talked about it in our episode yesterday came out this morning for our 53-man roster projections, that Bates could be the guy that goes on the IR stash, right? I'd be okay with Pryor in the back as a backup. I just think that also the timing of Waldron's offense is just going to be that much quicker than what we saw from Getsy. That, yes, it could still be a problem, but I don't see like 55 sacks in a season. Like that just doesn't seem realistic to me. 30s, definitely possible.
That's too many, Rob.
I'm trying to be optimistic here.
The goggles. I love the goggles. Yeah, I think the two takeaways is like how I should mention J2K has been killing the comments. But yeah, Caleb actually upgraded the O-line. 100% agree. Like you mentioned, his pocket awareness, him climbing the pocket instead of scrambling like we saw. I talked about it on our show last week, but the fact that he'll climb the pocket instead of rolling out. And, like whenever we saw Mitch or Justin Fields, and I don't want to keep, commenting on those guys, but like it's very night and day. Like he helps his own, like he alleviates pressure by just climbing the pocket instead of running out. And then the other thing is Shane Waldron, right? You would assume Shane Waldron can scheme to kind of hide some of the flaws on the offensive line, especially with all these weapons. So while they are a concern, and I was pretty shocked that Ryan Poles hadn't addressed the O-line as much as we thought he did this offseason, or as much as we thought he was going to. Between Caleb and Shane Waldron, I think they're going to be able to find a way to make things work with this O-line.
I have one other positive. Coleman Shelton, a realistic center. We've seen him succeed in LA. He's used to this type of offense. I think that right there, because how often did we see the interior of that line just get bull rushed?
Yeah.
Over the last two seasons. I don't think we're going to see that as often with Shelton in there. He's not a top 10 center in the league by any means. He's not a Creed Humphreys who just signed a huge contract. He is, but he's an average center, and I don't think you're going to have those issues. I like the fact that he's now in there. We should not see any snapping issues like we've seen early on. We shouldn't see the bad early calls where people are jumping off sides as much either. The other what was it that you were touching? Oh, the other thing that's interesting, average time to throw. In the preseason, Caleb Williams was actually the second worst.
Yeah,
Justin Fields was the worst.
Yeah.
But here's the difference. And he did have one sack. Granted, that one sack was he actually almost got out of it. The difference is like, again, the way he maneuvers, that number, that average inflates, especially for guys who like to scramble, which Justin Fields does too. But who can extend plays, that number is going to increase. The difference is we're seeing Caleb Williams keep his eyes downfield. Caleb Williams moving inside the pocket before he moves outside the pocket. Even when he does move outside the pocket, his eyes are going downfield. He's constantly looking to pass.
Yeah.
It's going to be night and day. The anticipatory throws are that much better. I know people are hanging their heads on this like 50% completion nonsense. And if you're on social media and you follow some former scout who talks about how Spencer Rattler is amazing because he's got a 52% completion percentage. There were so many drops by guys that shouldn't be dropping the ball, DJ Moore especially. You're not
Your boy, Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet dropped one. Let's put that out there.
He also had a nice, very, very nice catch too. Let's give him
It was
credit
right
for
after that, actually.
Actually, two good catches.
So I think you guys nailed it with the scheme. But another thing I want to point out that does come out of preseason and was very evident to me, I'm watching these games, and every time there's a flag, I'm looking, finding out, and it's always on the other team. The Bears have been disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe while you're not the best at injury, you could at least play a clean game, and Matt Eberflus always says, hey, offense, end with a kick. Even if it's a punt, you're not giving the ball away. So,
especially with Torrey Taylor.
Yeah,
Hell
exactly.
yeah.
He's a weapon.
I want to give my 2 cents, and I think that the O-line is going to be better, at least as far as like not giving him as many sacks. And comment here, preparing is kind of what I wanted to echo as well. I think when you saw all the tape from Justin Fields, they knew that he wasn't going through his progressions properly, that he was taking too long to hold on to the ball. So any amount of little extra pressure was going to make him either scramble or the pocket was going to collapse and get the sack. Right. I think now with Caleb also being able to read defenses better, and maybe he's second worst right now, but I think his pocket awareness is going to prevent those sacks, and teams aren't going to be able to scheme the same way as they were for Justin Fields. So like if they are bringing the pressure, I think Caleb's going to be able to either get the ball out quicker and do those anticipatory throws, whatever, word tongue. But I think he'll be able to make those throws as well as escape, and run as needed. So I think just the game tape that teams had on Fields was a detriment to the Bears' offensive line.
Completely agree. Caleb is a weapon. He can run on you if you need him to, but he's going to hurt you with the arm. And so teams are going to have to really be careful if they bring pressure. So it's exciting, and I can't wait. 13 days, 12, something like that.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap up the off the trenches talk here. Let's talk about the glow up Eberflus. We've obviously have seen a different Flus this year. It's kind of been more evident on Hard Knocks as well. I haven't heard him talk much about the hits principle. I think it was mentioned in the last preseason game. I think Jim Miller, someone was bringing it up about about him. They're buying into the hits, but I'm like, he hasn't been talking about that. So I think that going away from the cheesy, cliche slogans and everything, I think that kind of helped the team buy into what he was selling. Plus, seeing that the strides the defense made, this year. I think this is going to be a good year for him. I think he potentially could have Coach of the Year, accolades tied to him.
I like that.
Whoa. That's high praise.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
I was going to say, like, the one thing that I have noticed just out of everything, besides his look and that whole transformation, post-game press conferences. This guy, last year, it was fucking word salad. It was the same shit over and over again. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a lot easier to do when you're winning and you're talking about positive stuff. But it seemed like he's being more open, more honest, more this, more that. It seems like he's just flowing a ton better.
Yeah. I don't know if he worked with some type of PR coach or some type of
Something.
Motivational speaker, but yeah, it definitely has changed. It's not that monotone where he's just constantly repeating himself over and over and over again. Maybe it's a confidence thing. Maybe as a guy, like I shave my beard. I look like I'm 12. I keep the beard. I feel like a man. Like I don't know if it's one of those types of things, but the wife was clearly into it more, so maybe he's getting a little bit more action at home.
Yeah, could be.
I mean, it's definitely been a change, and it's a change that he's embraced, and it's the second best glow up that we've seen outside of Mike McDaniel now down in Miami.
That is fucking hysterical. The way it's like he is like fucking like on South Beach, like just popping coke, selling kilos of coke out of his truck now, man.
Cartel McDaniels. They're calling him Cartel McDaniels nowadays.
Yeah,
That's the Hard Knocks effect.
Yeah. Let's hope that doesn't happen up here.
Yeah, I think a lot of the confidence it does, like you guys mentioned, having a winning team and winning games at the end of the year helps a lot with the confidence. A lot of it has to do, just like we talk about Caleb Williams or any other rookie, reps, right? Getting used to this, getting used to the spotlight. He was a rookie head coach. And I know he's been in the league for a long time and he was successful in Indy as a defensive coordinator, but it's a different type of responsibility when you're the head coach of a the charter franchise like the Chicago Bears. Maybe it has a lot to do with just getting comfortable in the job. And it seems like whether or not, we joke a lot about the glow up, but something seems to be clicking. And while I'm not ready to say coach of the year, I had the question for the guys on the Bumcast, and I'll ask you, I still think he's the one on the hot seat, right? A slow start, a bad start. I think Flus is the first one gone. What is the record wise where you say he keeps his job or he's definitely fired? Where is that line for you guys?
I don't think it's as much a record as it is how the team responds. They could go 3-14 again, but if the team is still responding well and you're within reach in each game, I don't think he's going anywhere because they want the continuity of keeping this thing together, at least for a second season, in my opinion, because you don't want to because if Eberflus goes, Waldron goes, right? So then you're now another offensive coordinator for your quarterback, unless you promote Waldron. That'd be the only way I could see it possibly working.
Right.
But I just don't see how this team loses more than 6 games or wins less than 6 games. I just don't see how that happens.
Yeah,
3-14.
Oh, I'm
going to be calling for
he's
his
gone,
job.
Rob.
I got 2 years for
right
him.
now, Rob.
No,
I got 2 years.
He would completely be gone. I don't know how that could even happen, though. But I think Coach of the Year is in play, and it's not just a crazy thing to say. If the Chiefs go 13-4, people go, it's Andy Reid. They got Mahomes, like whatever. But for the Bears, where people know they had the number 1 pick 2 years ago at 3-14, if they, I think we're going to give records at the end. I won't tell you mine, but I could see this team winning double digits. And if they do that, he's in the conversation. I think the culture that has been established, that's not completely Flus. That polls has something to do with it. A lot of people have something to do with that, but he's the CEO of this operation as far as players go. And he's developing a culture. Rob and I were talking in one of our episodes, like, what could he be? And we said it's starting to feel like how it felt with the Lovey Bears, where you had a solid roster, good dudes who were balling out. And even though the Bears never actually got a title, you knew they were coming. You knew they were in it. And that's where I hope this is headed. But Rob, 3-14, no. We got to find someone else. But I don't see that happening.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's definitely. Peter, when I say coach of the year, I mean candidate. I'm not saying he's going to get it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to get it. I'm saying that I think he's going to be in the conversation for coach of the year if the Bears at least have a decent winning record, which I think they will. So we'll go over we're going to do the scheduling, and then I got a segment after we do our scheduling. I want to bring up with you guys real quick before we wrap up, but let's talk about cut days tomorrow. We already saw today they released 8 people. I don't know if that was anyone grabbed that before I hopped on, But yeah, let's talk about now the final roster constructions. You guys are already killing my vibe saying that Velas is going to make the team, but which shocking cuts are we going to see tomorrow that Bears fans might not like?
Daniel Hardy.
Yeah.
He's the Travis Gibson, Terrell Lewis of this season. He's not making this roster.
I fought for him on our show, but Rob won out. Rob, who do we take over him? Who do we keep?
Dominique Robinson.
Dominique Robinson. And you said it's because Ryan Poles has to cover himself for that being one of his first draft picks.
It's that, and I don't
think he's petty like that.
No, but the way that Matt Eberflus talked about him when he was in the press conference regarding the Darrell Taylor trade and the rotational pieces, he actually mentioned Dom Rob. Like, that to me tells you that, 2 days away, 3 days away, whatever it was from cut day, the chances of him going somewhere is pretty slim.
Okay. Flus was talking like he thought Matthew Judon was going to be on the roster, and he was wrong about that. So
he was dropping hints. I thought that
he
was
didn't say by name.
Close, guys. I mean, it was between Chicago and Atlanta. I mean, there's a bit of a difference.
Anyone the Bears cut likely will be in Atlanta anyway. So
yeah, I also had Reddy Stewart cut as much as I also wanted him, but I won the Daniel Hardy argument, and Justin won the Reddy Stewart argument. So Reddy Stewart is on our final 53 consensus. Daniel Hardy is not.
Well, basically what it came down to is we thought if the Bears cut Reddy Stewart, no way he makes it through waivers. Somebody would scoop him up. So why not just keep him on your team and develop the guy and see what he can become? He was a ball hawk in college, and he's showing it in the preseason. So and in training camp.
I think what we're seeing, though, is this team has such high quality depth that you're not going to see as many surprise cuts as we felt like there were over the last couple seasons.
Yeah. What about someone like we saw in Hard Knocks early, Colin Johnson? He had that first game, the preseason game. Everyone went crazy. He's a big body. They're like, maybe he could sneak on the roster. But then, Scott and Pettis seem to be locked into those positions. Is there room on this roster for someone like Colin Johnson? Will they carry 6 receivers or just go with the 5 that we have penciled in already?
Yeah, so Scott is your lock for wide receiver 4. There's no one in my mind who takes that place. As far as Colin Johnson, looked fantastic. Then we haven't seen him. Why? Because he's injured again. That's the story of his career, unfortunately, at this point. He is ideal, in my opinion, to be a practice squad guy who probably will clear waivers because of injury. And you're just going to stash him. And then when you need him, then you bring him back.
You mentioned Pettis. I think he's could possibly be on that list of surprise cuts. I don't know if it's not a shock. But on our show, when we were debating it, I did want to keep Pettis. We ended up keeping DeAndre Carter as a punt return specialist. He did not look the part in preseason.
Specialist is a very loose word.
Exactly. He did not look the part in preseason, both with indecision and just dumb plays. But he does have a track record for it. And we said, just because he's kept on the 53 doesn't mean he's not on thin ice. If someone better were to become available, I think that's a quick move the Bears would make. But Pettis could be another cut, actually.
Okay. And then looks like fan favorite from Hard Knocks too, Ian Wheeler. We saw he went down with ACL. So are they going to do like an injury buyout and bring him back potentially next year for Pratt? What would they do with Ian Wheeler?
Yeah, so they already put him on injured reserve. And I believe they did do some type of settlement with him. You'll probably see him next year for sure. To me, he would have been the Velus Jones competition, right? Like I could see him being the guy who stays as that 4th running back. And with his speed and his burst, he's not Velus, but he could have been, potentially your kick returner if he could prove that he could handle that role.
Khalil Herbert's in the last year of his deal. I don't know that the Bears are looking to extend him. So I think if Ian Wheeler's rehab goes well, then next year would actually be a better opportunity for him to make this roster. it's unfortunate just tossing that out there like this because it's a serious injury with a lot of rehab ahead of him. But you hope that he can bounce back, and then he might be in their plans for the future.
Now, the one thing, though, is if he decides to go to medical school like he hinted, then maybe
I was about to say.
over.
He can perform his own operation.
Yeah, now that he's got some
awake,
downtime,
like, no,
to
to the left.
maybe a semester of medical school while he rehabs.
All right, next up, the Canadian Eagle.
He's gone.
Yeah, for sure.
He made himself famous, and now he'll have to use as much of that publicity as he can before.
Yeah, a couple more People Magazine's interviews, maybe.
There you go.
I think he was one of the guys whose signing bonus was only about $5,000 or so.
It was
So
$5,000.
he had to make a name, and I'm glad he did.
So, of the potential cuts that the Bears are going to do tomorrow, which guys do you see coming back to the practice squad if no one claims them?
Yeah, so we didn't really dive into the practice squad too much when we did it. It was more along the lines of, okay, we might not keep this guy because we feel like he could clear waivers and we could stash him. And that's where Justin and I disagreed again, and I ended up winning out, is we kept fullback Kari Blasingame in our 53-man roster. He wanted to go ahead and keep fourth tight end Brendan Bates,
Yeah.
which honestly, I told him, look, I like Bates. He has a lot of special teams upside, and I just think, though, that when you're looking at this roster, Blasingame is a guy that a lot of people in this league know, and if he was to be, cut, he's not going to be put on your practice squad. He's not going to be someone you can bring back. Bates, though, I think could be that guy, and you get to keep both. Colin Johnson, another one I do think that will make it there. Reddy Stewart, I don't think will. That's why we kept him. I don't think Daniel Hardy will, but you know what? I didn't think Tara Lewis and I didn't think Travis Gibson were going to clear last year, and they both did. So definitely a guy who could be brought back.
What about a cornerback, Stroman Jr.?
So Stroman was ahead of – he was second on the depth chart. He was on the second team for the depth chart. I actually had Stroman over Stewart, but again, I lost out. So I wouldn't be surprised if Stroman's actually on the 53 and Stewart isn't.
Okay.
But he was cut last year and put on the practice squad and brought back, so it's definitely a possibility we could see that again.
Okay. All right.
And if you guys want, I actually shared. You don't have to put it up now, but I shared with you guys our 53-man roster.
Yeah, I'm that's what I've been reading as we're asking the questions. I've been going through here and trying to and looking at your final three because you could we saw some of the stars obviously, and it sucks that some of these guys aren't going to make it. I was really hoping that, like I said earlier, Elon Wheeler was going to make the team as opposed to Velas. I definitely liked the way he was bursting through those holes, but it sucks. The ACL. That's the way of football. Sometimes it's very unlucky. But all right, we'll find out tomorrow, and I'm sure you guys, when you do your next podcast, you'll be going over that as well with the final cuts. But we gotta go into the meat and potatoes now. It's the roster, or it's the schedule predictions. So I love doing this every year. We drink a lot of Kool-Aid, and I think sometimes it gets to 14 wins. But I think this year
17-0, baby. Mercury Morris, I said it.
All right, Adam Rank.
Counting his days.
Yeah, so Peter, pull up the schedule here, and we'll just I'm I'll say the name of the game, and we can just say win loss, and then we'll try to get a consensus here. So
hey, real quick, hey Justin, do you have ours from previously, or have you changed yours since our last?
I don't remember that. I know what I ended on, so I want to see if I'm there still. I think.
Okay. Do you not want to see it? Because I could share it with you behind the scenes.
No need.
Okay.
I'm gonna go fresh now.
All right.
I like it. We're gonna go.
All right,
maybe we take up and wins a couple.
Yeah, all right. So let's start here. I'm gonna say Tennessee right off the bat at home. It's a win for the Bears. I think that secondary is locking down Ridley and Hopkins and Will Levis. He ain't getting that dub.
It's a win.
Same.
Yeah.
I originally had this as a loss, but I am going to change my tune. This was obviously before camp and what we've seen. The reason being is I didn't think that this team would be as prepared as we've already seen them now. I'm going to go with the win.
Hell yeah. Yep. All right. So we're all 1-0 here. All right. So week 2, Sunday Night Football, CJ Stroud versus Caleb Williams, big primetime matchup at Houston. This is going to be a tough. I think this might be a loss for the Bears, just because Houston's got a lot of weapons, and as much as our secondary is going to be good, I think we saw what Houston did last year. I think that might be a tough matchup for the Bears right off the bat.
Yeah, it's like you got to be careful, because if you go ahead and just go, the Bears can win this, and you talk yourself into that, that's how you do end up at the 17-0 mark. So
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I kind of was tempering my expectations and said, let's go with a loss, but let's hope they're playing a tough competitive game. But I got a loss as well.
Yeah, we had a loss on this one, Justin, before we both did, before the Stephon Diggs trade. So right there, I'm definitely giving them a loss. I did see the comment, I think it was by J2K, about Tennessee's defensive line. That was the main reason why I actually gave the Bears that loss against the Titans, because I wrote this in my article for Bear Goggles. I was worried that defensive line was going to give Caleb Williams fits. But again, I think we've seen enough progress from him that he's already shown he can read the defense well enough. I thought that first game was going to be jitters. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a sophomore slump from CJ Stroud. I think maybe we get a little bit of regression, and
that's going to be for Jordan Love, buddy.
Yeah,
him too.
Them too. But yeah, I realistically, I've seen a lot of people say, yeah, like Houston's a better team. They're, it's going to be a tough game. I got the Bears winning.
I'm with you, Peter. I think the same thing. I think he's gonna have a rough second season. I think there's going to be a lot more film out there on him, and I think he's going to have a regression. So I am 2-0 at this point as well. Let's go.
Do the Hall of Fame game points carry over, or is that where they're starting? I hate that they were playing a team they were going to play during the season, but
they just finished. They just finished the game. That's all they did.
All right, I'm writing down real quick here what I got my. All right. Okay. So next we got week 3 in Indy, which, by the way, the Bums will be live there. So if you're going down to Indy, send us a message. Maybe we have for some couple 2-3 beers, some tailgating fun. So yeah, let us know if you're gonna be down to Indy. But I think with this, we saw flashes of Anthony Richardson last year. It seems he's gonna be a good guy, but coming back from the injury, I think this is easily a Bears road win for them. So I'm giving a W for this.
The Bears.
There's no way they're going to lose in front of you guys. So give them the win.
That was going to be my notes. It's like the Bears have never lost when all the Bums are in attendance. Granted, we've never all gone to a game together, so they haven't won or lost, but undefeated. So yeah, I'm at 3-0 right now, and like I said, Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Dougie.
No, I was going to say I'm with you guys. I'm not going to go to Indy where there's nothing but Drew's fucking ugly mug and say that there's going to be a loss. So that's a win.
He's going to chirp us in the comments saying Fort Wayne is not Indianapolis. And we're going to respond back. Yes, it is. It's all the same.
Yeah. Okay, so then they go they're home against the Rams. I think this is going to be a very tough matchup. I think this is going to be a loss for the Bears at home.
I also have this as a loss. I'm at 3-2.
I probably had as a loss before.
You did.
But I'm going to change it over to a win. Probably because it's a home game. I think after 2 tough ones on the road, you come home. The beginning of the schedule is where they're really going to have to be clicking in. And so I'm going to have them with a win and going to 3-1.
Yeah. I have them as losing this one too, in a tight one.
Yeah, same. So I got a loss for this one. Tough loss, but But yeah, like I'm looking down at the schedule. I can't have them going like 6-0 to start the year. I'll be happy with 4-2. So I got to give them a loss somewhere, and this is one of them.
Yeah. All right. Week 5, Carolina. If they lose this game, you got to fire Eberflus the next day.
Even if they're 4-0, if they're 4-0 and they lose this game, fire Eberflus.
You're out. You can't lose to Bryce Young.
All right.
The narrative would never stop that Bryce Young beat Caleb Williams at Soldier Field. You can't have that. Carolina was terrible. This is a win. And in my opinion, it's a must win.
This is the most meatballist take of the season so far, and I love it. Every minute of it.
You speak for all of us.
They
100% agree.
Must win.
I don't know if it's a must win. I think it could be a trap game, knowing what's coming up the week after with the travel. But yeah, I also have them winning this game.
Yeah.
This team is not about trap games, Rob. I already heard Flus. He's all about the coach speak. They're taking it a week at a time. You're not going to lose to Carolina at home. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, no, it's a win. I got it as a win, and then we're moseying on to London town.
All right, so this is in my opinion the trap game. It's in London. It's a travel. I think I could see this going either way. I think this might be a loss for the Bears. You know, these London games, they don't usually play well, and scoring wise, they're always kind of slow, methodical. Jacksonville's veterans for the London games, they think they're going to be more prepared for this. I think this could be an actual letdown for fans, because it seems like it could be a win on paper, but I think this is going to be, with London factored in, I think it's a loss.
Yeah. That's what I also had it as a loss as well, and which is a shame, is because that actually counts as one of our home games. When Jacksonville, this, like you were saying, this is one of the most, non-home games that like anybody's going to see out of the Bears this year. So Jacksonville's going to have a ton of fans down there just because of, and I'm sure there's going to be a ton of Bears fans too, but just because of the repetitiveness of Jacksonville being there every year, you're going to get a bunch of people that just watch soccer and don't know shit about this good sport. and yeah, so I'm giving it a loss.
I got it as a loss too, but I am interested to see how Bears fans travel. I know there's a lot of people, there's like CHGO is doing a London trip. There's a couple other Bears groups doing London trips. I want to see how Bears fans travel overseas. I feel like it's not technically a home game, Dougie, but yeah. I'd be surprised if there's not more blue and orange than Jacksonville's colors.
I couldn't type fast enough in the chat. I was going to say, don't tell Rob that it's a Bears home game. That'll piss him off.
Yeah, there's a Rob's rant episode out there about that.
A Rob's rant for sure.
No, but here's the thing, guys. I have this as a win, and here's the reason why. I don't give a flying fuck about where these Jaguars are going to be playing, because guess what? They're staying over there for the following week, too, against New England. The Bears travel so well. This is going to be at least an even attendance, in my opinion, as far as Bears versus Jaguars. I think that this team is just, I don't know. There's something about it, and I was supposed to be there, so they need to win because of that. I turned it down because it's just too much freaking money. Speaking of the CHGO thing, that's what I was actually thinking about doing, but I couldn't justify spending $5,000 on a vacation for just myself.
Yeah.
And how am I the only one that has them winning this game?
Yeah, I don't know. I got them 4-2 at the bye week, so
I do too, but just different ways.
Yeah, different.
Right now I got them at 500. All right, but then we got next up Washington. After the bye, I think this is a win. I think anytime you come off a bye, you have the advantage, and I don't think Washington's going to be their defense is going to be as good as we think it is, or people might think it is. So I'm going as a win.
Head-to-head, the top two Rookie of the Year candidates. So I hope that this kind of puts Caleb Williams on top. I have it as a win as well.
Jaden Daniels.
Rob's not a fan.
Not a fan. Nope.
Smaller Justin Fields is what you said.
Yep, 100%. Bears win.
Take that back.
Bears win. Do I take it back? I mean, he gets the ball out faster. I'll give him that much, but I don't care about that either. Like the guy just wants to run. Nope.
We're at the second half of the show, and Rob's just he just wants to drop those F-bombs. Just let him rip, man. You've caught yourself a couple times. Just let him rip, baby. I got it as a win.
Yeah, I have it as a win as well.
Okay. All right. Next up at Arizona. Besides Marvin Harrison, I think Jalen Johnson's going to shut him down, and this is a win for us.
So I've told you guys before about this, and it is concrete evidence. It's a guarantee win. Bet the house on this game because right around that time, Call of Duty comes out, and Kyler Murray's a fucking Call of Duty fan, and he goes to total shit after the video game comes out. He's going to get the game early. He's going to play his balls off, and he's not going to play his balls off in the game. Bears win.
I love that. That's analysis you don't get anywhere else.
I was gonna have it as a loss, but with that inside information, he might even have the same bidet you have. I don't know. I'll go with a win, but I'm very nervous. I might exceed my total from before.
Yeah. I will say Kyler Murray is a guy to target in fantasy football. Outside of that, I love Marvin Harrison Jr., but I just don't see how Chicago loses this game. Another game where the Bears are going to travel well as far as fans go. I know of a lot of packages out there for people wanting to go to Arizona. It's also a transplant city. There's a lot of people from Chicago that are out there. They already have a good amount of fans in that area. This is a win.
All right. So originally I had it as a loss. And then I had the Rolodex. It takes me a little bit. That is the day of our watch party at Jack's place. We're doing the doubleheader. Bears watch party, Blackhawks watch party, 3 p.m., 7 p.m. at Jack's place. Bears have never lost when we do a watch party at Jack's place. Don't check me on that because we've done a couple and I'm pretty sure they've lost. But they're going to win this time. They're going to win this time for sure. So because of the watch party at Jack's, win.
Peter's now a politician. You can just say whatever you want, and no one fact check it.
No one fact.
The one we went.
Vikings.
The last one was against the Vikings when Valus Jones muffed the punt, and then that was it. Game was over.
That was a tough loss.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we got home against New England on a Thursday. I think this is consensus. New England's going to be like the worst team in the league, probably. So this is easily a win for the Bears.
I won't put them in the last worst team in the league at that point. I really like Drake May, but they're definitely bottom 5, so it's a win.
I have the Bears getting hot right around this time, gearing up for the toughest part of their schedule that's coming up. So I have them winning this game and improving to 7-2, which that's nice.
That's exactly what I have. I have them at 7-2, knowing that the second half of the schedule is much harder than this, the first 9 games. So yeah, that's where you kind of have to make your hay, right? You got to stack dubs at the halfway mark of the schedule before it really starts getting tough. So yeah, I got this as a win as well.
They're no longer at the bottom of the screen when we're looking at in the hunt.
If they're 7-2, I hope you already pushed your money in on Flus as coach of the year. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got them as winning that one too, and I am at 7-2 and probably drinking way too much Kool-Aid at this point.
It's just crazy.
All right,
it's pretty crazy. We got them at 7-2.
Yeah.
Well, so we are all 7-2 besides Jason.
Yeah, I got them at 6-3.
Okay,
I got that. Yeah, that.
I was originally at 6-3, and then I changed that Tennessee pick. So okay.
All right. Next up, Green Bay. I think this is the coming out party for Caleb. I think this is by then you have the knowledge for the NFL speed and defenses. I think this is we finally put a stop to the Green Bay's dominance, and this is at home. Crowd's gonna be riled up. This is a win.
I got this as a loss. I think they. I don't want to jump ahead, but I think this one is a loss, unfortunately.
All right.
Told me he doesn't lose to the Packers anymore, so I have it as a win.
Peter said that I can drop the F-bomb, so fuck the Packers and fuck Jordan Love, because that's what's going to happen. The Chicago Bears are going to win this game. Jordan Love, I'm telling you, is going to regress. We want to talk about somebody who's going to has film out there. Only 19 games, just got paid a boatload of money. Sorry. Nope, not going to happen. Bears win.
I love all of that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have it as a loss. I just feel like, I want to say fuck the Packers, and I will say fuck the Packers, but me believing that the Bears are gonna beat the Packers, it's one of these things you got to show me first. Show me that you can beat the Packers, and then I'll believe you beat the Packers.
If their wide receivers, if their piece of shit wide receivers beat our secondary, I'll fucking cry at that game, because like there's no way those guys should be anywhere scorching our secondary like they have been in the past.
Dan Orlovsky said that they're the number one group in the NFC North, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see. That's the bullshit that happens in these type of games. Like the Bears could fucking dominate them, and then there'll be some fucking stupid bullshit to where
The fumble.
No, like a muff punt or some shit like that. Like it's just something. Something that just sets them up. But
All right.
just saying.
Next we got week 12 against Minnesota. I think this is another bottom barrel team.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold at the helm. I think this is a win.
So I'll jump in. I actually have this as a loss, and granted, this was pre JJ McCarthy, but I wasn't high on JJ McCarthy as other people were anyway. But I just think that they can't keep winning, and it's just going to be one of those ones. If they lose a game, they're supposed to win.
I have this as a win. I think the Bears are the better team. I am so excited to see Keenan Allen go up against the NFC North 2 games each, because he was a monster against all 3 of the Bears' NFC North rivals. Go ahead and look at his game logs from last season against those teams. I have this as a win, but man, this is a bit of a streak. The Kool-Aid's starting to run dry, so I got to taper it at some point. This one's a win. 9-2. Goodness gracious.
I have this as a loss. I feel like especially the NFC North, you're gonna have to split a couple games with some of these teams. And not looking ahead, but Minnesota split, but like reverse the home and away. So
yeah, I've got this as a win. There's not a chance Sam Darnold's still the quarterback at that point, and I don't know who will be. So I'm just gonna go by default that they just don't have anybody to throw the damn ball.
I like the way you think, though. Yeah, because fuck Sam Darnold. All right, so now we got a tough portion. Obviously, we're in a tough portion, but at Detroit, I think this is another bad matchup for the Bears. I think this is going to be a loss, as much as I hate to admit it, because the fucking Chicken Nugget King is going to go on his 10-minute rant about how the Bears lost to the Lions.
It's a loss. They're going to be thinking too much about turkey. It's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, short week. Tough opponent. I had them winning so many games. I got them up for a loss here.
So one of the reasons I had them losing to Minnesota is I think they're looking ahead and they're fired up for this game. If you guys remember last season, they should have beat both. They should have won both of the Detroit Lions games. And this is one that I just feel in the back of their head, they have it check marked on their schedule. The Bears are going to be fired up for this game. And if I do know the Lions, granted, they've been better of late. They are still pretty bad in primetime games or Thanksgiving games. Like that's just a tradition that I enjoy, is eating turkey and mashed potatoes and watching the Lions lose. And I'm going to enjoy it even more when it's the Bears doing the winning. So I got it as a win.
That's awesome. They're losing, unfortunately.
God damn it, Dougie.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. It's just, I don't know. It's just something so weird about that. Just a little bit of a half an hour earlier start. That just, honest to God. Have you ever just sat down? I haven't had enough time to drink at that point yet. There's a lot of variables. I got them losing, unfortunately.
Okay. I think we might be all consensus at San Francisco. That's a loss.
Yes.
It's a tough stretch of the schedule, like you said. Going on a road against one of the toughest teams in your conference, a place they've never really played all that well. But again, that's more of a historic thing. But I got it for a loss.
Loss. Kyle Shanahan, he knows how to attack this type of offense. So probably one of the teams on defense that are going to, could potentially be better than the Bears this year. So.
Yeah, I got it as a loss. I just noted on here, haven't done shit since Mike Brown walked off that touchdown. So,
all right. Then we're still on the road. It's three road games in a row, which sucks, but it is what it is. We had a lot of nice home games there. At Minnesota, I think, again, Minnesota's going to be poo-poo. Week 15, they're done. They've given up on the season. This is a win.
I got a win. It's a split for me.
It's a win. Monday night, prime time. I know it was Kirk Cousins in the past that couldn't play on prime time, but let's just make it a Vikings thing. I got the Bears bouncing back after 2 straight losses for a win.
All right.
Yeah, I got them winning.
You sold me. I originally just said it that they were going to split with Minnesota, but no, I'm changing my tune. By that point, like Dougie said, who knows who's throwing the balls? Win for the Bears.
All right. And then we're back home against Detroit, and I think this is where we get amped up, and this is a win. I think like you said earlier, Peter, we played Detroit tough twice last year. Thank God we didn't win those games because we might not have had Rome if we won those games against Detroit. So I'll take those losses, but I think they're going to put the smack down Detroit this game.
I have them splitting with Detroit also. I had them losing on Thanksgiving Day, but I have them dominating this game.
Hell yeah.
I feel the same way as you, Rob. I don't know about the domination part, but hey, if late in the season you got a record like this, you're going against Detroit, that could be for the division or for the division lead, and I got the Bears winning.
Yeah, I think we're all in consensus on that. I had them losing the first one, winning this one as well.
I'm reversing it. I got the Bears losing this one. The Lions get their lick back from the Thanksgiving loss.
Okay. And then we're another Thursday night game, so short week on day after Christmas against Seattle. I think I don't know how good Seattle's going to be this year. They might be one of those weird teams that you don't really know what you're going to get yet. But from my instinct, I think this is a win against Seattle at home.
I had this as a win just because you figure they're traveling on Christmas. They got that emotional stuff. Seattle, it's a very soft area over there in Washington. The people there are extra soft. Got it as a win.
Yeah,
I have it as a sneaky loss. I don't know why. I don't have an explanation. I mean, it's a short week for both teams. Seattle might be one of those teams that's, like you said, Rob, where we're used to seeing the Bears are just barely in the hunt. They might barely be in the hunt. Maybe they needed a little more. I have the Bears losing this, dropping to 11-5.
Yeah, I think that travel after the Christmas holiday, I kind of agree with you there, Dougie. I don't know about, I'm not going to call them soft per se, but they used to be the Legion of Boom. Let's just, they have a record of not being soft, but I don't know. There's just something about the fact that I just, Shane Waldron is going to know the personnel at least. Obviously he's not going to know the schemes because it's all new coaching staff, but he's going to know the personnel well enough. I think he's going to be able to attack and take advantage of enough of those guys, and it's going to be a W for me.
Yeah, that was the reason I had is the Shane Waldron effect. The fact that he's going back there, going to want to win. Team's going to want to play for him. That's a win for the Bears.
All right. And finally, one of the toughest games for the season. Division might hang in the balance. Who knows? But at Green Bay, I think that's going to be a tough one. Bears never play very well in Lambeau anyways, and especially in the bitter cold, So I think this is going to be a loss to end the season.
So I said earlier that I was giving the Packers that home game, and they got that one. Okay, they got that one against us. We return the favor. We go up to Lambeau. We shut the door on them. Not only that, we shut the door on their wild card hopes. They're done. Mark that in the book.
I like that.
Poetic. I like that.
Unfortunately, I said it before and I say it again. I'm going to have to see them beat the Packers before I believe they can beat the Packers. So hopefully they win one of these two games, if not both. But I just don't see a way where they beat the Packers on the road in one of these last games. Those are always the games that break my heart. You know, we get our hopes up. It's a big game. We're going to beat the Packers, and then inevitably, you know, doom happens. So hopefully I'm wrong, but I got this as a loss.
So it was so strange to see that when the schedule came out that you don't play your division until week 11.
Yeah.
I think that really helps the Bears. I have them with a season sweep of the Packers. Montez Sweat does not lose to the Packers anymore. I have them sweeping the Packers, sweeping the Vikings, and splitting with Detroit. What an improvement. I have them finishing the year at 12-5. That's one more than my way too early prediction of 11-6 back then. So
I have 11-6.
Yeah, different ways to go about it. I got 11-6. Shocking I didn't have 17-0, but it is 11-6.
Yeah.
So when we did this earlier, I originally was 10-7. I gave them an extra win to start the season. I also am now 11-6. But here's the reason why. I have them losing to Green Bay. Green Bay is not even going to be in the fucking conversation when it comes to the playoffs. I'm sorry. I am all against Jordan Love. I don't even care if I'm completely wrong on this. I'm going to speak it into existence. He's going to fucking blow. Okay?
Your words to God's ears.
That's right. So Chicago is going to lose this game. Why? Because they're going to be second in the division. They have no chance to overtake Detroit for the NFC North title. There's no reason for them to play their starters. They're going to be playing their third stringers because they don't even want Tyson Bagent to take a chance of getting hurt. That's why they lose this game.
Nah, Ripken's better than Love. We've seen it in the preseason. Ripken's better than Love.
hot take.
Yes. And with that, I want to bring up to close out the show. I want to just do one more quick thing with you guys. I want to call it the Hot Take 5. Okay, I'm trademarking that new segment. Hot Take 5. I got 5 true or false statements here. I just want you to give me your quick hot take, true or false on this, okay? Reason why. First one here, we'll go around. Peter, you'll start us off. We'll go clockwise here. Keenan Allen will be the number 3 receiver on this team.
False. I think Roma Odunze is going to make some strides. We've seen his relationship bud with Caleb Williams, but Keenan Allen is so good. He's so valuable. He's always open, like they mentioned on Hard Knocks. I think he's going to get enough volume to where he is going to be the number 2 receiver.
Dougie.
Yeah, I gotta go false. I'm right there with Peter, and also exactly like they were saying earlier about the way that he played against the NFC North. That he's gonna chew him up hard.
It's false. I love Roma Odunze. I think he could push to be the wide receiver 2 in this offense, but I think it's going to be more of like a JSN situation that we saw in Seattle with Waldron's offense.
Yep, I'm going to go false. And I was about to cite the same thing you did, Rob, which is we already saw what he did with 3 primo receivers last year, 1 being a rookie. Odunze can have a good year, but I think Keenan Allen will still exceed whatever Rome is able to do.
I'm going to go true, only for the fact that I don't think Keenan Allen's going to play a full 17 games.
Why?
I think with his
Why do you
age,
put that
Why
out
are you putting that mojo on us?
What the fuck?
I'm just going by history, man.
Games because he's sitting out the 17th game because I benched him.
Because they clinched early, they don't have to play all 17. That's the reason.
Okay, good call.
Fucking mush.
All right, second question here. Caleb will throw for 4,000 yards his rookie year.
Oh man, I want it to be true so bad. What is the math on 4,000 divided by 17? Can somebody do that for me real quick?
Justin's a math whiz.
I got you. I'm using a calculator, Rob. That's 235 per game.
235 per game. Done. Over. Hit the over. I'll bet the over. That seems feasible.
It seems so pathetic that it hasn't been done yet.
I'm going to say true only because it's a hot take. I'd be happy, like Rob said, 3,600 and not as many turnovers maybe, but let's go. You can get it.
True.
I'm going to go false. Only because I think that they're going to have a ton of short field because our defense is going to be taking balls away like a motherfucker.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dougie.
Good point. Yeah, I think I'm going to go false as well. I think he's going to come shy of it, but I don't think he's going to hit that 4K mark just yet. But he will. I don't think it's going to be his rookie year. All right, number 3, Matt Eberflus will get a contract extension after this season.
Son of a gun, you're putting me in a pickle here.
What's called the hot take 5, baby.
Extension, does that mean he's got 1 more year already, isn't he?
Yeah, so they would extend.
Yeah, there's no reason to extend them if he has a great season even. That could wait. So I'm going to say false.
Yeah, I'm gonna go false. I just with the 1 more year there, I just don't see a good reason to do it.
I'm going true because of the glam up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm going true. If you win Coach of the Year, you got to re-sign him. So,
yeah.
I think it's going to be true as well. I think that if you go anywhere, 10, 11 wins, I think he's going to get rewarded. I think he'll get an extension after this season. All right, number 4, Poles is going to make a in-season trade preferably before the deadline.
True. We've seen that he does it. He's not reluctant to do it. I think, especially if they start off as hot as we think they're going to start off in that early part of the schedule. I don't want to say he's in win now mode, but with a rookie quarterback, you have a little bit more money to play with. He's got picks that he could trade. I think it's an easy yes on that. So that's true. That's a beautiful comment.
Dougie.
Holy fuck. I forgot the fucking question.
Poles is going to make a trade.
No, yeah, I think he will make a trade. I think this guy lives and breathes, and that's all he wants to do is trade. Trade in football, baby.
I think he's going to make a trade for a punt returner because that's what they fucking need right now.
I got him making a trade for sure. I think it'll be bigger than a punt returner.
Micah Parsons, baby, come on, give him that 2s.
That's not happening.
I know.
Yeah,
I
I saw Bears Twitter in a frenzy, like right before we went.
There's room for 1 Micah on this team, and it's Micah basketball.
Yeah.
All right. And then my last question here, we talked about it a little earlier on the show, but the question is: the Bears O-line will be bottom 10 in the league for sacks allowed.
Can I just jump in? It's false. I already given up 30. So
Yeah. Bottom 10, as in they're going to be worse. I mean, they're going to give up.
They're not going to give up a lot of sacks this year.
Nah, there's still going to be some sacks, not as many. I don't know about bottom 10. So I'm going to say false. I would say middle of the road. Give me 15.
Yeah, I'll say false.
Yeah, I'll go false. But I think Williams will help the O-line not give up some sacks.
Yeah, I'm going to say it false as well, but for the same reasons. I don't think we're going to be as bad getting sacked. I think he's going to get that with his presence. He'll step up. He'll avoid them. He'll run. He'll get the ball out quick. I think that's definitely going to help mitigate some of it. But, yeah, we have to see what the Bears' protection can do first before I'm ready to do that. So, all right, that's my hot take 5, guys. Thanks for participating in that.
Well done. Well done.
All right. So that's it. Before we go, Rob, Justin, go ahead and plug what you want before we sign off here.
Go, Rob.
So, I mean, you can find all my writing content at Bear Goggles On. Definitely check out our Chicago Bears podcast, the Halas Huddle. Right now, we got about 2 episodes coming out a week. Typically, it's 1 at least. And I don't know if we're allowed to plug it, but if you're going to tell me I can plug anything, I'm going to tell you to go check out our sign-up sheet for BetStamp. It's signupexpert.com/huddle. And if you're looking to bet on the Bears or any other major league sports, I think they even got some weird things in there too. There's a bunch of sports books that you can sign up and get sign-up offers.
All right, we'll tweet out we'll retweet that link for you. So send it, do a post on it, and we'll send it out for you. So
that'd be awesome. Thanks for having us, guys. It was awesome.
And the After Knock show. You guys do the Hard Knock show.
I didn't want to plug that because you got to do it too.
I was gonna be friendly about it. You could say watch ours first, and then watch watch your guys's, and then next week watch theirs first, and then watch ours. As long as you're watching both, it don't matter, baby. Just
we hinted about a dual syndicate show at one point. I don't know if it'll work out with only 2 left, but
yeah, it's all right. But yeah, all right, Rob, Justin, thank you guys so much for joining us on our annual Bears kickoff show. We always love having you guys on, shooting the shit. But that's our show. Make sure you catch us tomorrow after Hard Knocks. We'll be on recapping the show. And then we'll be back very shortly. But until then, guys, have a great night. Bear the fuck down.
Bear down,
Well,
baby.